Hello, my name is Paul Priestley. Welcome to Paul Priestley Art, the home of drawing and painting tutorials for beginners and above. Now today we're going to be looking at pencils. Yes, pencils. We all use one, but do you use it properly? Who knows? What we're going to do is we're going to show you how to use a pencil and how to create lots of different marks with it. We're going to do the same with the piece of graphite too. The first thing to remember though is we don't hold the pencil down there by the tip because you can't do anything with it. We're going to hold the pencil much further up like that. You see? Like this. So I can move my hand and I can do things with it and I can create all sorts of interesting ideas. So don't hang about. Let's make a start. Come on. We're going to start with 3 pencils and a piece of graphite. The details of the graphite will be in the description below. Now, we're just going to look at what these pencils can do. First of all, we're going to take this 2H pencil, hard pencil. And if I draw a line with that, you see it comes out very faintly. If I go to a 2B pencil, a much darker pencil, draw the line with that, you see, a darker line. It's quite simple really. And similarly with a 4B pencil, I'll get a darker line again, as you can see. Now, this tells us that the darker the pencil, the darker the line. It's quite simple. Now, I often get asked, how do you draw a straight line? You don't use a ruler. What you do is lock your wrist and pull your arm. You see, I'm just pulling my arm straight down. I can pull a straight line, draw a straight line quite easily. And I'm not moving my wrist. You lock the wrist. Similarly, if I'm doing it horizontally, lock the wrist and just move my whole arm, shoulder included. Just move it across as one thing. And you get a nice straight line. Now, we can draw lines. Yes, I draw lots and lots of different lines, but a line drawn like this can look pretty boring. So what we could do is by manipulating our fingers, moving our fingers around, we can twist the point of the pencil and make it look a much more interesting line. Now, this is quite a wobbly line, but if you look at it very carefully, you can see the differences in tone, differences in thickness. This makes the line look more interesting when it's drawn. So if you're drawing a natural object, for example, it will look much more interesting. Now, if I draw a series of vertical lines, notice lines can tell a story. Notice how this shape now looks as though it's falling over. And I've suggested that just by the angle of the lines. I'll draw some lines on top. Look, it now looks like a 3-dimensional object. You see, could be a path going down the side of a mountain or something. Who knows? Do you see the idea? So you can use line to suggest things. Now, imagine drawing a circle. You can draw a circle. This time we twist the wrist, you see? We twist the fingers and we can draw around. The whole arm is moving as I'm drawing. You see, I'm drawing, everything is flexible. I'm moving my whole arm around. Okay, not just the fingers. You see, and you can get a nice circle. It won't be perfect, but then you don't want a perfect circle. Here, drawing curves. Notice now I'm using my wrist. My wrist produces the curve, so it's a little bit like a compass. And I can draw lots of different curves. If I was to lock my wrist and use my elbow, I could draw massive curves. Here I'm just using my fingers, look. You see? And I can draw shorter curves. So it's about moving your hand, getting flexibility into the hand, which will make it work. Now, imagine you're going to do some shading. Most people shade by pressing down with the point of the pencil. Now, the only problem with this is, it works perfectly well, but you'll notice the shading, we see all the stripes because I'm using the point. If I change the angle, you notice I'm now holding the pencil differently. I'm using the side of the pencil instead of the tip. You see, I get a much softer, smoother sort of shading. So it depends what you want. Again, just changing the angle of the pencil can give you a different type of shading. And this is what we want to do. It's that flexibility that you can use with your pencil and make things work. Now, the other thing is that drawing lines sometimes, drawing them very carefully is okay, but sometimes you want to get some vigour and passion into the drawing. So flick with your pencil. Press it down. Look how I'm flicking with my hand, my fingers, my wrist. It's all in movement. And I'm just flicking with the pencil. Do you see? This is what I want to do, to try to get some drama into the drawing. See how these lines look so much more interesting than the ones above. Drama, passion into the lines. That's what we want to do. Okay, now we're just going to use a piece of graphite now, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. But you'll notice now we can get quite different effects. Watch this. Now, I'm just simply going to draw the line as I would do with a pencil. And this will produce a very similar line to a pencil. I'm going to twist the piece now again, and because this is thicker, I can vary the angle a little bit more. I can get some interesting effects. I can draw the straight lines as I've done before, just keeping my wrist solid and pulling it down. But notice now, if I move it onto its side, look what I can do. Look at that, two parallel lines together. If I begin to twist it, look at the effect you can create. Just wonderful, just by using this graphite on its side. You see? Brilliant. Now, if I take the small piece of graphite, I'm just going to use the point of it here, and I'm just going to draw the lines, very much as I've done before. But this is a looser sort of effect, you see? But it's similar sort of thing to had before. So it doesn't really make a difference between the graphite or the pencil. Now I'm going to use the edge of the graphite. Notice now the difference in line that I can create by using the edge of this graphite, not the tip. So I'm using the whole of that long line, you see. If I press down on that now and twist it, look at the line I can create. Much more interesting effect. Now imagine drawing leaves or natural objects. These are the sort of marks you want to make the whole drawing look that little bit more interesting. Circles, you see? Same sort of thing, but this time with a thicker piece, I can get much softer edges to my circles. You see, going round here, this time I'm using the edge, so I get line as opposed to that soft effect I was getting before. Similarly with the angles. But you notice by using the thicker piece, I can get bolder, stronger, much looser sort of lines with the graphite than I do with the pencil. Again, I'm using the edges, and I'm just going to move it sideways. Look at this now, here. You see, I can create an edge. You see, imagine going up to that. I can suggest the edge of something now by putting shading behind it. You see what I'm doing? Now, notice here, an interesting effect. I've got a little nick in the side of that edge there. It produces that white line. Turn it round to one that doesn't have that. That suggests that you could manipulate the edge of the graphite and produce some really interesting effects. All I'm going to do here is just blend this in, but now I'm going to press down with the tip. So I'm going to press with the tip, but keep the back end down as well, but more pressure at the front. Notice now this sort of line and edge I can create. Very sharp one side, very soft the other side. This has some really interesting effects, and you can produce some quite interesting effects with it. You can see there, look at that. Okay, I think we'll leave it there. Hope you've enjoyed the drawing. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. I hope you've learned a lot about drawing techniques there. Now, the next series of videos that are going to follow this, I'm going to be looking at how to draw natural objects, and we're going to incorporate some of those things that we've learned today. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, then please do so, and don't forget to click the little black bell as well. That would be wonderful. If you want to support the making of these videos, then please check out my Patreon channel, where you'll find lots of interesting rewards in return for your patronage. That would be wonderful. Thank you for watching. Goodbye!